Hello, it's Phillip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers speaking, and I'm looking at a book from Hart Publishing. As is usual with their publications, this is a detailed, very scholastic work. It's the International Law of the Sea, 500 pages. It's a good book. It's got quite a large number of chapters running through to, in fact, 19 chapters altogether. You can see the headings. There's a useful set of abbreviations. The book itself has got useful footnotes and further reading at the end of chapters, which I find very helpful. And there's also a good index at the back, and of course there's a blurb on the back. Now, the Flickr review is there, and it's a detailed review written by my wife Elizabeth and myself. We've given it the title, A Re-Evaluation of the International Law of the Sea, focusing on the 1982 UN Convention. And what we say is this: in the great tradition of international legal scholarship, the authors, both of them, connected to the University of Sydney, and the authors I mentioned are Donald Rothwell and Tim Stevens. They present a fresh and lucid examination of the modern international law of the sea, which is both extensive and thorough in our view. As pointed out in the preface, the international law of the sea has been in a state of constant development over the course of many centuries, so this work is a welcome re-evaluation. Long before the use of the term global business became widespread toward the end of the 20th century, there was always the sea, the natural facilitator for international trade, establishing links between nations for good or ill. The authors refer to Roman law, which of course was our starter, which provided that the sea was free and common to all, and also a pivotal and influential work by the Dutch scholar Grotius, who in his 1608 Mare Liberum supported the concept of freedom of the seas, which of course is where we start off. The prime purpose of this book, however, is to provide a fresh explanation, which it does, of what the authors term, quote, the foundational principles of the law of the sea, together with a critical overview of the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, and the many and consequent developments emanating therefrom. And in fact they succeed. The book actually focuses on the UN Convention, placing its achievements in historical and contemporary context and examining the rules and institutions which it has established, most importantly for the contemporary practitioner. The book addresses in detail a number of contemporary issues, which obviously were not anticipated back in '82. Then there's the change, obviously, with the challenge we now have of climate change and its possible and probable effects, from coastal erosion and disappearing islands to newly navigable, I'll get it right, waters in our polar regions, for instance. So in all, this new and well research publication is a fascinating read, and it's quite good because in 500 pages you've got all that you really need to know to get a really good perspective. There are good suggestions, as I've indicated, of suggested further reading at the end. So if maritime law is the focus of your practice, this shorter book, with its thoroughly up-to-date evaluation of the international law of the sea in the context of the 1982 Convention, will be invaluable. The law is stated as at the 31st of March 2010 and is an excellent re-evaluation of international sea law. So thank you to Hart and to the authors. Bye-bye.